He's on the NAR Wi-Fi plan where they've made a 15% deal on Wi-Fi.
They heard Tom start talking about his office is bugged, so they did a DDoS attack.
If you're not getting educated about local and national real estate news, market conditions, lawsuit, NAR policies, we're going to cover a lot of them today. You're doing yourself and your client base a disservice. This is the Knowledge Brokers Podcast. I'm Tom Toole, here with Lisa Chinatti and Byron Lazine. And we got special guest, regular on the show now, I would say, Giannos, CEO of Humanize.io. And guys, this is going to be a spicy pre-Thanksgiving pod. We have Zillow's class action complaint now includes RICO allegations, like the stuff you heard in Tony Soprano and The Sopranos. RICO. We're gonna get into that. We've got NAR repealing policy requiring membership for MLS access, leaving decisions to a lot of the local boards. And we're doing my favorite. This is my favorite thing to do all year on the pod. Turkeys of the year. It's not necessarily Biggest Loser, but think about a turkey, a buffoon, a stooge, you name it. We're going to hit on all those, and Chris has an incredible one. Let's talk about this Zillow case. So, and that's why one of the reasons why Chris is on. So the class action complaint against Zillow over its Flex Referral program, now called Zillow Preferred, has been expanded to include more plaintiffs, defendants, and claims, including racketeering allegations. This blew up yesterday. I was at a Tom Ferry event. Tom was getting texted nonstop. Chris, you said you got 25, 30 people that reached out to you.
Yeah.
I know my phone was blowing up. So the short of this here is that there was a September class action complaint against Zillow. Now it's been, I guess, upgraded, if you will, to racketeering allegations, according to court documents obtained by various sources. The initial filing, which centered on a Washington home buyer, said Zillow's Flex Referral program violated the Washington Consumer Protection Act and RESPA, Real Estate Settlements and Procedures Act. And the filing said Zillow isn't forthcoming about the referral process, which includes connecting buyers with Flex agents. And then it obviously went into Zillow Home Loans, and the amended complaint added 8 plaintiffs from Washington, California, Michigan, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Nevada, Florida, and Connecticut, and includes Zillow Home Loans and 3 brokerages enrolled in Flex. A lot to talk about here. Byron, do we want to let Chris take the lead on this, or do you want to start first? I mean, obviously, ladies first is the normal thing, but
let's let the former Zillow employee kick it off.
Oh, that's great.
All right.
That's gonna go. That's gonna go.
Happy
over
Friday,
well.
Chris.
Yeah.
Long removed from
long removed.
Yeah.
Speaking in an unofficial capacity. I went deep on this stuff. I obviously have a lot of exposure and work with a lot of different Flex teams and people that are pretty close to that org. And I got a lot of phone calls yesterday. I asked a lot of people on this call, just kind of curious what this whole thing looks like. So I went through the entire 79-page doc, kind of read through it and tried to surmise what's actually going on. And Tom, you touched on a lot of points, but I think there's really 4 things to think about with this that are important, right? This RICO thing that they're claiming. RICO's this kind of thing that they can wrap in for like racketeering. And they're basically accusing Zillow of being like a fraudulent enterprise operating with partner brokerages, which, like, I don't know. Objectively, that sounds a little out there in my opinion, just in terms of like what it actually is and how they're framing it. Because they're portraying it as an organized like conspiracy, right? To play with consumers and stuff, which I think is interesting. But there's 2 primary parts to it that I think they're making this complaint on from a consumer perspective. The first is RESPA violations, saying that there's illegal kickbacks happening with this 40% referral fee, and that Zillow's essentially exchanging leads for fees without buyers knowing about it. Key phrase there being buyers knowing about it, right? That disclosure is what kind of makes this a little murky, at least how this lawsuit's like alleging it. In addition to this State Consumer Protection Act stuff you're talking about in Washington and other states like that, where the consumer protection stuff is pretty intense, they're claiming that there's deceptive practices that are happening, and that disclosure isn't happening with buyers and how their agents' relationships work with Zillow and stuff, which is interesting. But again, I think that, again, this whole thing is, I don't want to say being blown out of proportion, but definitely something that lawsuits like this are always going to sensationalize, right? The RICO stuff, all of this, it's designed to get media attention and designed to get headlines, right? But I think the stuff in there that's really, really interesting is, in the lawsuit itself, it talks a lot about how the contact agent button, and this is something that I think's long been discussed in the industry, is kind of the crux of this entire thing, right? Misleading consumers by saying, hey, if you go into a property and submit an inquiry, if you click contact agent, there's an assumption that they're reaching a listing agent, and they're not, right? That lead is going to a buyer's agent or a flex agent or whatever it is. So there's the lead funnel issue. There's some stuff they're alleging around hidden costs. So that 40% referral fee is, quote unquote, from the lawsuit itself, high and inflexible, which is leading to agents not being able to offer rebates to buyers, not having flexibility with discounts, all that stuff. And then lastly, that's allegedly kind of trickling down into buyers through higher prices. So I think this stuff, when it comes down to it, again, lawsuits are going to always try and sensationalize stuff. But I think this is really things that team leaders, especially if you're involved with Zillow, should be really, really up to date on and staying current with what's happening and how it could or may impact you. Not to say it will, but I think it's definitely something we should all be keeping a really, really close eye on.
Well,
if that
I mean,
makes
this
sense.
lawsuit is now impacting teams. So yeah, if you're a team leader, you need to be well aware of everything. I mean, there's so many different components to this lawsuit. So we got to kind of break it down. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about the assumption of what the contact agent button is. We talked about RICO. We talked about the referral disclosure. Obviously ZHL. To me, ZHL is top of the list. You know, if I, and I'm not an attorney, but if I'm guessing, okay, where is Zillow in the hottest of water? I mean, where is the pot boiling the most? It's the ZHL RESPA stuff. That's a guess of mine. I don't have, an attorney background. I'm smarter than most attorneys, but I don't have an attorney background. So
that is the most Byron Lazine thing anyone has ever said.
I'll get roasted for that one. Okay.
He believes it.
That's true.
Well, he definitely believes it. Yeah.
Why do attorneys become an attorney? To avoid doing work. That's why you stay in school for 8 years. The rest of us start working right away. Anyways, I want to ask you, Chris, and anyone chime in. The contact agent button on Zillow, the lawsuit's kind of framing that up as an assumption of reaching the listing agent. It doesn't say listing agent. Is that a strong case? Like, why should somebody assume that they're hitting a button on Zillow? Most consumers assume they're reaching out to Zillow in the experience that I've had.
I think we need to back way up and even why Zillow exists, right? Like let's back up, and I'm probably going to get some hate for but that's okay. Zillow exists. The story goes, there's like a myth, right? A fable. Who knows if it's legend or not? Is that the founders of Zillow had their exit with Expedia, went to Europe for a year, screwed around, and then came back and were like, hey, we're going to buy real estate, right? And they started making phone calls, trying to get on hey, I want to go and see a house. And they couldn't get anyone to pick up the phone, right? That goes the story. So the story is told. And then they're going,
that's a believable story, by the way.
It's not, it is, right? And I would argue that even lately, I was looking for a condo here in Dallas to potentially buy. We're going to start splitting our time back and forth and wanted to downsize a little bit. And I called 4 or 5 listing agents and no one picked up the phone, right? And so that's believable. But when we think about this contact agent button, I think it's intentionally ambiguous, right? As it should, because here's the reality. Even if it went directly to the listing agent, what's the probability that a consumer is going to actually get someone on the phone or get a timely response, right?
Well said.
So, and that's not me being pro Zillow, anti-industry. That's just reality, right? Which is unfortunate.
But if you click on it, so I actually just did it. I went to Zillow.com. I clicked on the request a tour button, and the first thing first screen is, and I hadn't done this in a while. I don't know if you guys have, but pick the day and time. And then it says, how can we reach out to confirm the tour? You put in your name, your email, your phone number. And then there's the blue request a tour button. Now it's small print, but the print directly below that button that you have to scroll up to see, as you scroll, says, by pressing request tour, you agree that Zillow Group and its affiliates and real estate professionals, and that's underlined, and real estate professionals is underlined. Yep. And it says real estate professionals includes the real estate agents and brokers, mortgage lenders and loan officers, property managers, and other professionals you interact with through Zillow. Zillow Premier Agent is an advertising program that helps connect customers to local real estate professionals. Zillow Premier Agent partners are paid advertisers and are not affiliated with Zillow Inc. brokerage or any of its affiliates. And so that's all there. And
So,
it's
can I jump in, Lisa?
yeah.
That disclosure that you just read is more disclosure than any real estate brokerage or company does right now on the referrals that they hand off through Facebook groups.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that.
Those are the worst, and I'll tell you why. A busy agent, I'll put myself in this category, and this drives me nuts personally. I go on appointments every day. I have calls and meetings. I'm not sitting on my Facebook account waiting for a referral to pop up and then text 20 of my friends to say, hey, recommend me to an area I haven't sold any homes in, because that's what happens on those groups. So, Byron, your point is absolutely spot on. And then it's, I already connected with somebody. And it's like 45 minutes later, I'm like, well, I was out practicing real estate. I'm sorry we sell hundreds of homes a year, and then I'm actually doing what you want, and I couldn't respond to a Facebook post right away, and don't give me speed to lead. So, yes, I could not agree with you more on this.
I've warned on this before. Be careful what you're crying about. So there's agents that are kind of piling on, and we're going to get to the, don't listen to 5 minutes of this pod and be like, I'm going to be very, as I was last week for a couple of the dummies that couldn't figure it out. I'm going to be critical of Zillow where I need to be. Certainly when we look at ZHL of this. Okay. So stay with me on the whole pod. But just on this referral thing, I've seen a bunch of agents pile on like Zillow should have to disclose the 40% referrals. You should have to disclose it. They are disclosing it more than agents disclose the referral. And I see 25, 30, 35, referral fees are all over the place. They're negotiable between agents, but I don't see agents disclosing it to the person that they're lining it up. Not at scale.
Never. Over
90% of those never are disclosed. So be careful what you're crying about. You can't say, these referrals, that are being paid through this advertising platform, which is disclosed upfront to consumers. But yet when you're fighting hand over fist in a Facebook comment to get one little referral and never disclose what's happening broker to broker on the referral on the back end, you're not being consistent.
Byron, this is a thing that is plaguing, I don't think just our industry right now, but just the greater society in the US, is this selective outrage, right? Where it's like you can be pissed off about certain things, but other things that are nearly identical, they don't bug you. And this in the industry specifically, this is happening. It's rampant, right? Where people are nitpicking and if Compass does it, it's not the same as Zillow. Or if this person does it, it's not the same. And it's it is. Yeah. It's the exact same thing. Good point. Right? So,
and I would argue that, I think the referral thing is, I just think Zillow is doing a much better job of anybody else of disclosing this stuff. And Lisa just read it. And so to me, that's that one there.
It's ample.
It is. Yeah. So, do we want to go to the RICO? Well, that is kind of tying into the RICO, but where do we want to go next? The ZHL, or
I think the ZHL and the RICO stuff probably wraps up it kind of one and the same, right? What the complaint is alleging, I think it's a common knowledge at this point that all of us can agree on that it's pretty evident and apparent that Zillow really, really, really cares about ZHL adoption rate. Right. It's the metric that they push harder than anything else, at least it seems, probably even a little more than conversion rate. And I think we know the answer why, right? They're going for this real estate super app. They want end-to-end transaction, and mortgage is an ATM machine that prints cash, basically, right? If we're going to call a spade a spade. What the complaint is alleging with this RICO stuff is that essentially Zillow is colluding with all of its partners, right? All of these different teams and brokerages, and collectively throwing weight around, and it's impacting the consumer in a negative way by really, really, really encouraging, and I don't even know if encouraging is the right word for it, but for a lack of better words, making ZHL a almost non-optional thing, right? Hey, you really need to send us a certain number of referrals or a certain number of pre-approvals per month.
Yeah, it's not referrals, and that's, I think, what's going to get them in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
not introductions anymore. It's
Right.
pre-approvals, right? And I think that I haven't read the RESPA case law stuff and how they've defined this yet, so I'm not going to make assumptions here, but it's probably a little murky, which is why they've pushed like this so hard. But the argument is that by Zillow doing that, consumers are being impacted in a negative way and getting higher than normal interest rates, right? Or agents aren't able to offer any type of rebate or help to a consumer, and commissions are artificially being driven up. And the argument with this RICO stuff is essentially that this organized body of people and organizations is forcing financial gain at the expense of consumers, right?
And Chris, let me back that up here because this is from the case. So this is in the article that Inman, they had posted, but it's kind of buried on their website, which is very strange. We can talk about that another time. It now includes testimonies from anonymous loan officers who claim Zillow cherry picks home buyers with the best credit profiles and fails to educate buyers about the full range of loan and down payment assistance options, which they said effectively steers buyers into higher cost loans or disqualifies them altogether from purchasing. 12 current and former agents and loan officers have bravely stepped forward to help our clients build a comprehensive case against Zillow. And with their added information, we believe the lawsuit has the potential to bring major changes to Zillow's policies and practices. And that's from the Higgins-Berman founder and the managing partner, Steve Berman, of the amended complaint on Wednesday. So, I mean, that's pretty serious allegations there, that they're inflating costs. Keep going. I just wanted to cite the part of the case here.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to say the least with like...
Oh, we lost you, Tom.
Yeah.
Bad
Your Philadelphia Wi-Fi,
Okay.
it's about as good as those cheesesteaks.
I think
going to the wrong place. Go ahead.
Yeah. When it comes down to it with this stuff, I mean, I think it's important to look at like actually what's happening. And if we think about Zillow being fairly rigid with these, how they define it in this, like this lawsuit is like quotas, right? With ZHL, where a certain number of these have to be passed through. I think where they get in hot water with this stuff is, from what I've heard and seen, there's not really a whole lot of clear, hey, how do we make sure that agents do this the right way? Right? When you put a number like that on an agent, when we think about how low the barrier to entry is into our industry, right? You pass 150 question multiple choice vocabulary test, they give you a license. Does that mean you know how to navigate making a referral to an outside vendor that could end up with some sort of legal ramification? Are you professionally trained on that? No, you don't know anything for the most part. So I think that's likely where a lot of this came from, is like agents knowing that this is how they are going to get more leads and how they are going to look good in the eyes of Zillow, hypothetically, is by making these handoffs. Like, left to their own devices, I don't know if agents are going to do it the right way, because there is a right way to do it. Let's be real. All of us on this call have worked with ancillaries before. Like, obviously we want consumers to have good experiences. And if we have good relationships with lenders that are going to provide them good experiences, I'll make those introductions all day. But it's done the right way, with grace and tact and walking a fine line, right?
And you just said with lenders that I think I've been on this for a long time. Offer multiple solutions where a consumer can have, okay, these are a handful, 2-3 options that have been vetted out. They're reputable. I've worked with them. I can say based on my experience that they are somebody you should talk to. What I can't do is guarantee their future results.
Yes.
And so those are two things that, if you're looking for a way to be compliant on offering up to the question of, hey, you got anything I can look at from a loan perspective? Hey, here are 2-3 names I've worked with. I do work with currently. I can speak to their past performance. They're local. They're reputable. They get back to people. They've been really good for my clients. I can't guarantee their future results. But what most agents do, though, Chris, is most agents say, oh my God, you got to talk to so-and-so. They're the best. They're the best. They're the best. I use them all the time. That's what they do. And they jam one person down the throat of the consumer because that person makes them feel good.
Yeah, and usually the makes them feel
as slippery as this other stuff.
Yeah, and the makes them feel good part when I've analyzed like vendor relationships a lot in the past, it's like, oh, I use this title rep because they bring me like a $5 Starbucks gift card every couple of weeks. So they bring in like, it's just top of mind bagel stuff. This, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars of like income that's generated on these files for each loan that they do. Right. So it's like, it's way more significant. And the lawsuit itself is basically alleging that it's not communicated clearly. Right. And that they're not informed that there's some sort of relationship between these two and how it works from a financial standpoint. So I don't know that. Yeah.
The most significant that the biggest problem Zillow has right now with ZHL, you go to page 24 of the lawsuit. Haley can put it on the screen. It's highlighted in yellow for a reason on the lawsuit. Failing to meet the following minimum performance expectations may lead to disengagement and decreased connection volume for your team. Those and the other screenshots that are similar to that, those right now are Zillow's biggest problem because
big time.
Because any of that shows immense pressure to influence the consumer. Okay. And, that to me, out of everything else we've talked about, is going to be where, Zillow's that lobster right before they get thrown into the pot. It's like, no, don't do it. My eyes are about to bulge out of my head. That's the big one.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think from how it gets framed and how it actually gets explained, I think where the issue is at the core of this is, I think a lot of communication and training, and we've all 3 or 4 of us have talked about this frequently. Like training, I think, is one of the single highest ROI activities a team leader or brokerage owner could do, especially with something
100%.
like this, right? Where like, hey, this is a really hazy thing and it's important. And if we want to get leads, we should figure out how to optimize it. But making sure that agents aren't left to their own devices, because if an agent, right, and I know this because I am one and I can say this, and this isn't me docking agents, like it's a singular outcome. Oh, I need to send more of these. I'm going to do it by any means necessary, right? And to your point, Byron, they're not doing it from a educate first, give optionality, and like steer the person to where you want to go. Steer is probably the wrong word for it, but they're just, hey, here's an introduction, talk to this person X, Y, and Z, and like forcing square peg and round hole, right?
Agents should only send introductions with people that they have the experience with in the past that they can validate. They should be offering so number one, make sure you know of the experience. Number two, make sure you offer multiple options. Number three, make sure that you can no way guarantee their future results.
Correct.
Every agent, whether you're a Zillow partner or not, no matter, it's no different either way, should be doing that, regardless of any pressure you're feeling from anywhere else. You should stay in that lane because that's what is right for the consumer. So whether you're Zillow partner or not, and your broker has and I'll be clear here too, I've got no problem with Zillow as a company going after ancillary on mortgage. I mean, mortgage.
Duh.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm a loan officer and I see what's going on between Rocket, Redfin, Zillow, ZHL, and others, I'm like, oh boy, they are commoditizing the LO in the future.
Oh,
like
100%.
if you don't think the loan side of thing is going to be a race to the bottom, you're kidding yourself. Okay. Because the service comes on the ground through the agent. The loan is numbers. Okay. So, and I know LOs are going to get mad at that, but if you don't see what's happening here over the next 2 to 5 years as these things shape out, you're kidding yourself a little bit. Okay. Now there's going to be local LOs that provide a different level of service that are going to be able to, potentially hold on to some of their margin, and, somebody wants that local feel, but loans are different than what the agent provides.
Oh,
There's no
100%.
question about it. There's boots on the ground. And so but going back to where I started here, I've got no problem with Zillow going after this space. If I was, and I've said this, giving Zillow a little bit of advice on ZHL, you got to play the long game. I know you're a 90-day company because you're on Wall Street, but if you want this thing to work, you either got to do one of two things. You got to play the long game, or you kind of just become a ripoff of Rocket.
This is another example that I think is really, really important to talk about just from like a business perspective in general. Like doing what's right for the consumer, you can't be selective about that, right? It can't be like, okay, sometimes we do what's right for the consumer, but other times we don't, right? And not saying that that's what's happening, but like when you actually think about the mortgage stuff specifically, is it in a consumer's best interest to shop a mortgage rate and fees and all that stuff? The answer is duh, right? And it's one of those scenarios where if that's actually what's good for the consumer and you want to argue different, then you have that same selective outrage that we're talking about, where it's like, oh, well, I want to do what's best for the consumer. And that's the argument that all of these companies are making now. Compass is making it with private listing networks. Zillow's making it with what they're doing. Like it's this, we are for the consumer and they're our champion. It's like, well, do what's right for them always. Right. And I get it. Enterprise capitalism. I'm a capitalist. I'm not saying I'm not. But in this scenario, it's like, to your point, Byron, that is what's best for the consumer. Right. And that's how agents should be approaching it. You can't selectively do what's right for a consumer only when you want to, or when it aligns with your business interests and financial outcomes.
I mean, Zillow has said for 20 years, the North Star is the consumer.
Yeah.
And when they've made decisions on having every phone call answered immediately when you click contact agent, and if you want to do a live transfer, that is better for consumer. I know some agents want to lie to themselves and say, no, every consumer wants to talk to the listing agent. The vast majority of consumers want the phone answered immediately.
They care more about that than talking to the listing agent.
Well, and a lot of consumers want to bring in their own representation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real. Like that happens all the time.
And so there have been, I'm just using that as one example. There have been a lot of examples you can point to where Zillow has done what the consumer wants, which is if that's your North Star, you give your customer what they want over and over and over again. And it's why they dominate on traffic. Okay. You know, just because you spend $1 billion in a year on ad campaigns, Andy and team, doesn't mean you're going to win the hearts of the consumer. Okay. So Zillow's given the consumer more of what they want. Homes has the bankroll to keep spending and the chance to compete, but they haven't competed on any relevant stage with Zillow or Realtor.com since they've really gone after that space. So just simply because the argument's going to be, well, Zillow spends all this money to create ad traffic to go to their website, but they also have to offer what consumers want or they're not going to stick. People bounce out of homes right now. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case forever and the story forever for homes. What I'm saying is so far, $1 billion plus hasn't made a dent. Not a scratch.
You mean the key to the consumer's hearts isn't Dan Levy, Byron?
No, I'm sorry. I mean, and by the way, most consumers watch those commercials right now, the ones that they've been running. Homes.com is making the mistake most agents make. Most agents are like, I was on the Real Trends list and think their consumers know what the hell they're talking about. Homes.com is saying, we just had 1 million people. We had a X amount of impressions, and most consumers don't even know what an impression is. We sit in front of, talk to homeowners, you know, when you're training your agent, like, hey, you know, what do homeowners say about when you're talking about impressions? They don't know what an impression is. Okay.
Yeah.
When they're seeing those commercials, it's like the agent saying, I got the top producer award. I mean, you know, I don't think it's landing, and it's certainly not landing on the results. On one other thing on this, this kind of story that a lot of people have latched onto with the Zillow lawsuit is that it's making homes more expensive. Zillow is actually making homes more expensive. Lisa, where do you sit on that argument?
So it's interesting. I was hoping we would come back to this because I think there's looking at it and thinking about realtor.com is expensive, right? We all know market VIP product through realtor.com is expensive, delivers a great consumer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's not a referral fee, we actually tracked within our office here a couple of weeks ago, kind of after some of this started coming to light. Our Zillow, Realtor.com, and Google clients, they're all the same, regardless of where the consumer started their journey. And I would have either of you done that, Chris? I can't ask you because you don't run that way,
No.
but
like looked at like a cost per lead, like tit for tat with like Zillow
or
Flex
like
and Realtor.com or conversion rates.
not necessarily the
Mhm.
cost per lead, but like what is the average commission percentage that
yeah.
in your office, Byron or Tom, either one of you, like what is the average percentage that is paid by a client from Zillow versus a client from realtor.com versus a client from, say, Google?
How about this? I'll go a level deeper. Buy side commissions, if anything, have ticked down from the time period, because I got a lot of years of doing this, from the time period of not using Zillow, realtor.com, pre-paying for those
That's-
products.
Yep.
And obviously you got an NAR lawsuit that falls in the middle of this whole thing, right? But buy side commissions have not gone up based on using Google pay-per-click or realtor.com or Zillow or against each other. There's no difference. It's a negotiation between the customers. And what has happened over years is, and not just on the cost of acquiring a customer, because there's so much competition there, what has consistently happened is commission compression, quite the opposite of what these basically people that just are emotionally triggered by Zillow are arguing. No, buyers are not paying more. They're getting more for their money. It's quite the opposite.
Well, that's an interesting point because if you put this in the long scheme of things and look back the length of the lawsuit, commissions just became really truly negotiable August of last year, right? So I think if we all think about it, before August of 2024, agents just took whatever was offered in MLS, regardless of what the lead source was, where the customer came from, or like what was being offered. Our company average was what it was based upon whatever was offered as a co-broke in MLS.
I think compensation has gone up on the listing side. It's always been the more valuable side of the equation. I know people disagree with me on that, but that's my point of view.
It's true.
And so the listing comp has gone up, being more, having the negotiate, and detaching the two and letting buyer agents figure it out. But buy side it's not like customers are getting into a negotiation and being like, oh, because you're Zillow, I'm going to pay you more. That never happens.
No, I think it's a little reaching, right? If anything, I would argue that the types of buyers that come through these portals, right, are more educated, right? Well, educated is probably a poor word for it. What I mean by that is they're internet first consumers, especially if they're coming through one of these forward. These people now, especially with the rise of like AI and stuff, I would argue that the average consumer is getting smarter, right? And the average consumer 100%. Is like becoming more skilled. And I'll give you an example. Like I've seen friends of mine that are agents get like really well-written emails from consumers, like arguing legal points and stuff in emails. And I'm like, it's very obvious you did that with ChatGPT, but it's still true and valid, right? So I think that argument probably doesn't really land purely because like these people that come through these sites are educated, informed, and probably a sharper consumer than before, right? And if they're coming through on these portals, they're internet people, and internet people can get whatever they want information-wise, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. That's a great insight.
Well said.
Cool.
Anything else we want to talk about here? Let's move on.
Yeah,
there's a lot to unpack.
Let's move on from Zillow. The lawsuit's 73 pages. You can I don't know, review it over the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah.
Great
You go right
reading.
to sleep.
Yeah.
Right after turkey.
Raises your blood pressure by a couple points, and then you go to sleep. It's great.
All right, so before this RICO case broke, NAR was in the news. They had their big NXT conference. Lisa, I know that's your favorite conference of the year, I think. And they repealed a rule at this. They came out with this plan. It's like 75 things they're going to get done in the next 3 years. What a joke! But they repealed this rule specifically requiring membership for MLS access, and it's going to be a matter of local discretion. The ongoing effort to decrease the risk of future antitrust complaints was some of the basis behind this. They specifically voted to repeal policy statement 7.7 from the MLS handbook, stating NAR was firmly and unequivocally committed to the principle of requiring membership for access to realtor-affiliated MLSs. That happened on Sunday, and it's now a matter of local discretion. I think this is very interesting. I can tell you what's going to happen to me. I can almost predict this. I'm part of Bright, the second largest MLS. They're definitely not going to repeal this rule locally. There's no shot. Now, Lisa, you're part of MLS PIN in some areas. There's like the Northwest MLS. There's some edgy MLSs out there, if that can be such a thing. I think it's a different story for them, but there is no shot Bright MLS is going to pull that back. I mean, there's no way. I don't see it happening. Lisa, I'm curious what you think, because you're in one of those markets, especially with MLS PIN, because they're one of the more vocal, different MLSs that are out there.
Well, so MLS PIN, we've been optional for years. As long as I can remember, it's not been a requirement to be affiliated in order to have access to MLS PIN. We also have Prime up in New Hampshire, where it is a requirement. Could I see them changing? I don't know. They hold to that. The state motto for New Hampshire is live free or die. And I always joke that it's live free or die unless you sell real estate. And then it's live free and get fined.
And we need to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. I mean, it's truthful though. So I don't see it changing, but my big question, and I'm curious what your guys' takes on it was does it then trickle down to, so the way that it works right now is that it is company specific, right? If the broker opts in, every agent must opt in Massachusetts, that is, right? And if the broker opts out, no agent can join, which is a really interesting dynamic. So any of our agents who are just Massachusetts licensed, if they want to join, they'd have to join under our affiliation in New Hampshire. They cannot join through Massachusetts. And so my big question is, do they change it to give agents the choice regardless of what their broker chooses? Or do they keep the longstanding rule that it's the entire office, it's all or nothing? And so I'm curious what you guys think about that.
I mean, for now, they're going to try the all or nothing game because they're too afraid to validate their offering to agents one-on-one because they don't have a relevant voice.
I think this is this whole thing of making it like optional, I think is again, this is just my opinion, but it's like an illusion. I think it's a thing like, they know that they need to paint themselves in a better light and do something dramatic to like try and correct course a little bit, and saying, oh, well, you don't have to pay us unless you want to. It's almost like a pump fake, because they know at the MLS level, at least most MLSs, right? CRMLS, Bright, the big ones, there's no way they decouple from that. So I don't know. My gut tells me it's more of a, hey,
it's legal gymnastics.
How do I make the industry like me?
Bill Pulte saying,
legal gymnastics.
We're going to do portable mortgages, knowing that there's not a bank in the world that's going to say, oh, let me change my contract on the 2.5% mortgage. Let me change my loan documents on a loan I wrote 5 years ago, where somebody can take it with them for the rest of their life, like it's a pet rock. No, not gonna. It's the dumbest thing. It's like I say something that's never gonna happen to make myself look good. You're still tied into the three-way agreement in a lot of places, because if you want MLS, you have to have local, and then your local says if you want local, you have to have state, and then your state says if you want state, you have to have national. And so NAR saying, hey, we're not going to require it doesn't mean that it's not still being played out at the local level. And that is,
but so is it
kinda
just
what's happening.
passing? Is it like ring around the rosy with the liability? Like, is it just NAR saying,
Yeah.
hey, look, MLSs, now you take the obligation for any antitrust claims that come?
Yep. They're washing their hands of it. And now every MLS is going to, and local is going to have to look at it. Local's kind of stuck because,
Yeah.
there's a lot of local boards. There's some that are probably really good, but there's a lot of them that, aren't worth anything. So you got a whole bunch of CEOs at local boards that are making $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 salaries who provide zero value to their constituents, their members. And they're scared out of their minds right now because if they go away and they get exposed for being the nothing burgers that they are, well, they lose that salary. And some of these CEOs have been sitting on these salaries for two decades. It's obnoxious.
I love whenever I'm like, oh, I should pump the brakes a little bit and kind of censor my thoughts. Byron just like puts it in 6th gear and pins it. So I love that. No, in a good way. Like you're saying what everyone wants to say and doesn't. Right.
It's
I
so
remember
obvious.
Byron. We
It's
were
so obvious to
we were at
everybody.
T360, and they have all these MLS CEOs. It was the first time we went, and I just kept sitting there thinking, "What the hell are these guys doing all day? Like, do they? Like, it makes it. I don't get it. I couldn't agree with you more.
MLS CEOs have much bigger influence than these local board CEOs. I think that there's a distinction there. Yeah, I don't know
Yes,
what's
it
wrong
does,
with your
Tom.
internet.
It totally
It's
sucks.
brutal. I mean, you're in your office. How do you not have world-class internet in your office?
Yeah,
He can't even hear you.
He's on the NAR Wi-Fi plan where they've made a 15% deal on Wi-Fi.
They heard Tom start talking about his office is bugged, so they did a DDoS attack. It's intentional.
He's going to blame his phone next.
All right, Tom, let's get you back for Turkey of the Year. I don't know if there's anything else on the on that one there.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk Turkey of the Year. So Turkey of the Year it's think of like a stooge, a buffoon, somebody like that in real estate. We've all got one here. I'm going to lead off with my first, which is, and we can kind of go through here. So
Chris has a hard stop. Let's let our guest kick it off.
I'm good, Byron. I got 10 extra minutes, so we're good.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
This won't take that long. Go ahead, Chris. Ladies first.
Okay. So, ladies first. I love you guys. You guys are fun. When I hopped on before we were recording, Byron was like, hey, kind of walking through the episode and goes, we're going to go to Turkey of the Year. And before I picked mine, I asked everyone else, hey, like, who are you doing? Just so I had some context and didn't say something completely out of the whack and realm of possibility. And my brain instantly went one place. There's this thing happening on social media right now, and Byron and I have talked about this before, where people that aren't or shouldn't be giving advice about things are, and then charging people for it, right? It's really, really interesting. Where like the age of the guru, I think, is still a thing. And one person stuck out. There's this cat, and I think Haley's got this video that we're going to pull up. This post went viral. There's a guy on Instagram named David Bronner, right? His Instagram handle is official David Bronner, and he's a social media coach for real estate agents specifically. And he took a jab at a bunch of people. It wasn't just Tom, but the primary one that went viral was Tom Ferry. He like took a screenshot of Tom Ferry and like some videos and did like a green screen over it and basically like roasted him, saying that he doesn't know what he's doing and all these crazy allegations. And it went viral. And what I thought was the interesting thing was people in the comment section just roasted him. Like it very quickly
got killed.
He got crucified by like everyone. And I don't know, it just speaks to like what's happening in our space right now with like stuff getting sensationalized and clickbaity. It's crazy.
Can we play the clip?
Yeah, let's watch this.
Tom Ferry has over 1.2 million followers teaching real estate agents how to generate leads, but here's why his strategy actually kills lead generation. I've helped over 200 solo real estate agents, and a handful have been in Tom Ferry's programs and his courses. And here's why his advice doesn't work for you. Tom Ferry tells you to provide massive market value, market updates, and even things like industry insights. But here's what he doesn't tell you. His audience is other real estate agents buying his
What's up with this
programs.
music?
So when you
I don't
copy his
know.
content, that means you're attracting other real estate agents who just want to network and not actually buyers and sellers who want to work with you. A client of mine who will go unnamed for now pretty much followed Tom Ferry's playbook, for 6 months, to the T. They posted educational content.
I can't listen to this moron anymore. So that was a post that Tom reposted it. So that's actually not even it's the original post. Tom reposted it, which was interesting because Tom, addressed this, which, somebody at Tom Ferry's level, this isn't the first hater Tom Ferry's gotten. He gets a lot of haters. And the fact that, he pointed this one out was interesting. Here's where I stand on this one. This is a great turkey. This is probably the best turkey of the year because it speaks to not just this kid, but a larger kind of wave of people out there ripping people off. But buyer beware. You're a moron if you trust this 14-year-old kid with your social media content, who, by the way, if you look him up, he's got 14,000 followers on IG. I'm sorry, I'm not hiring fat people to walk me through my training. Okay. I'm just not doing it. If you're overweight and eat like a pig, you're not going to be the person that I say, oh, let's do private sessions in the gym, bro. I want to be like you. I said this, we just did the business plan. Sharon and I did this past week. And I'll actually talk about that a little bit with my turkey of the year because it relates to my turkey of the year. These fronting people as if they got the goods and they haven't accomplished anything blow my mind.
It's a symptom of a broader thing that's happening. I saw something like a meme yesterday on social media that was like, stop making stupid people famous, right? And this just kind of speaks to the same volume. There's a ton of this happening. And to your point, Byron, falling for it. I can almost guarantee, and I think this is going to be really funny, he's going to be green screening over a Byron Lazine video here shortly, right? Or a Toole, Lisa Chinatti, Giannos, and as a direct result of this, which I think will be funny.
I don't claim to be a social media guru. I partnered with the real estate social media guru in Eric Simon, the broke agent, who's created more organic real estate agent followers than anyone ever. Yeah. And so I'm not claiming to be a social media guru, yet I have, what do I got? 4X or 3.5X the followers this kid did. And if I pulled him up on Social Blade, just looking at his engagement, which is pathetic engagement, his 14,000 followers are mostly bought for so that he can look the part, but he ain't the part, right? It's like people that want to tell you exactly how to sell a home, and they've done, there's somebody I'm thinking of right now, I'm not going to say the name. They're out there coaching people to sell homes based on their real estate agent experience, not based on, now listen, I'm going to make something very clear. Tom Ferry's experience is a legacy of his family helping thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably at this point, agents grow their career and tapping into different knowledge from all kinds of different sectors and applying that into help real estate business. Okay. Well, I'm thinking of somebody who's based on my real estate business, you look this person up on Zillow over 10 years, 14 home sales, way to go, 1.4 a year, and is charging this number every single month based on their experience. You've done 14 deals in 10 years, you have a downline, and now you're an expert. Please, I'm sorry. Yeah. And so, but buyer beware. You got to understand the reason BAM works is because you can validate what I'm doing, and Tom and Lisa and Chris Benjamin, and you can validate on the social side what Eric Simon does. And that works. That I think today more and more people are attracted to man, I want to hear straight from when Chris Benjamin has Jordan Cohen inside of BAMX, the number one RE/MAX agent in the world. What he's doing. I want to hear direct from the source.
Yes.
That's really working at a high level right now because more people are aware of the crap like this kid is slinging.
Major turkey alert.
Yeah, total
Might be
turkey.
the biggest turkey of all time. I mean, that we've talked about on the show. What a clown. So,
Lisa, what do
good
you got?
stuff, Chris.
Whose little Apple thing keeps binging and dinging? It's driving me
Chris
freaking.
Giannos.
I'll
Gotta be
fix
Chris.
it.
Yeah, there we go. I knew it.
fix
I knew it.
It
I
won't
thought it was-
stop. I put my phone on do not disturb, and people are hitting notify anyways, which is like the most asshole thing to do on the planet.
It's
It's great.
People are
amazing.
still reaching out to you about ZHL. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah.
We
All
got
right,
more
Lisa.
breaking news.
What do you got?
Well,
Turkey of the year.
So I initially went super easy. I went Waxman and Barton for like totally obvious
Well,
reasons.
stick with it then.
Okay. All right, I will. I'll
Or you can
still,
give two. You can give another one if you want, but
well, yeah. So those are my. I mean, they don't require any explanation, right? 7 lawsuits in the past like
6
180
months. Yeah.
days. Yeah, like I mean, some tactical errors led to
I would
those.
call Barton the eagle eye of the year. He got it at the right time.
Yeah, I've heard some rumors that that's not he's coming back. There's going to be a comeback there. I've heard some pretty interesting stuff that like
Sounds like Brett Favre. Just keeps on.
yeah,
retiring.
there's like
Would that be the third comeback?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, and I don't want to go too deep on this, but if you look at like the history of this, usually when it goes from like peacetime to wartime, guy comes back into the picture, right?
Well, these were all his
Like the
initiatives.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
He laid the foundation for all of this, right? Like, the interesting question would be, did the execution of it happen the way that he envisioned, or did it not? Right?
Yeah.
Like, who's going to own it? But so then the other one was, I don't know if you guys had seen the agent who showed a property that wasn't for sale. It got over 8 million views on TikTok when the homeowner caught the whole thing on their Ring camera.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is incredible. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, 8 million views on TikTok. Homeowner's son had left the front door unlocked, and an agent pulls into the driveway, goes up to the front door. The homeowner's at work. The Ring doorbell starts to catch it, and then all of a sudden, agent goes in. Homeowner doesn't know it's an agent. Comes back out. People come in, joining her in the house, and then she's got cameras inside the house, so she sees them starting to walk through the house. Calls the police remotely. Police come, tell her she can't press charges. It was clearly an accident. Like, really weird, but it was a 4-part TikTok series that had over 8 million views talking about how moronic real estate agents.
They should take that agent's license away. That's like, that's insane.
Yeah, no doubt.
How do you screw that up? Like, was it like the house next door for sale?
I don't think it said. I don't remember if it said, but I mean, part-time agent clearly not doing due diligence, and like
addiction to somebody in Wisconsin commenting on your TikTok when you sell in Maryland, right? Like there's I get it. There is some benefit to mass exposure. But some of this stuff and some of the time that, the most valuable thing you can do, if you're just going to focus on 3 things, this is a little teaser from the business plan. Like Sharon broke down in depth a really good, proper business plan. And I said, Sharon, if I was going to simplify this even more, and I focused in 26 on my health, on my database, and on how many conversations I need to have a day, those 3 things,
good outcomes,
I'm going to be so far ahead of most people. Okay. You can watch the replay. I mean, Sharon goes into so many specifics, so many great takeaways. We'll put the link down below if you want that replay. But, I think agents chase so
shiny
many
objects.
Shiny object things that are.
Someone said it recently that I think it was really interesting that like you can't deposit likes and comments in the bank, right? And
I said that.
Speaks to all. Did you say that? Was that you?
I put it on Instagram like 2 days ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's a Tom Toole original?
I don't know if it's an original, but I put it up there again. So I'm sure
it's true.
Said that.
Like, I think everyone's chasing the influencery stuff, which like don't negate or don't mistake traction on social for actual outcomes in your business, right?
It is valuable. It's a valuable resource. But when it becomes everything, you get yourself into a little bit of trouble. And so, Tom, you want me to go? Well, I'll do my turkey of the year. So my turkey of the year is the the new 3-year strategic plan from NAR, the National Association of Realtor. They've teased this out throughout the year. I've been waiting for it. You know, when you think of a strategic plan that covers, spans 3 years, that focuses on 75 projects, all of which they have to complete in the next 3 years, you would guess that this plan would be 300, 400 pages. And what did we get? A 12-page pamphlet, a 12-page slide deck from NAR with a bunch of words on it. I love Rob Hahn's Substack on this. NAR accepts its irrelevance is the headline. And, it's like, he had a line in here that was so brilliant. It was so good. He goes, I don't know about you, but nothing screams transparency more than a closed door meeting of the 64 out of 1.4 million members voting unanimously to approve the, quote, biggest transformation in real estate history. You don't even get to know what the plan is. You got a 12-page slide. It's like, you go to an island to go on vacation, and they're like, hey, we want to walk you through what it would be to buy into the residences or the timeshare. And you get a little brochure of like the view of the water and what life would be like sipping a marg here a couple times a year. I mean, that's what we got. A 12-page pamphlet of nothing, of just nonsense words. We have no idea what's going on. And I'd love to see at this point next year, me saying, NAR, you're the lion of the year. You've taken over the jungle. This is where people get me confused. I want NAR to win. I'm sick of being astroturfed and getting turf burns because you're dragging me around with nonsense all the time. Like, come on.
They can't do it.
Sure.
I don't think they can do it.
Hey guys, that is my cue. I got to jump onto my next call, but thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chris.
I appreciate it, guys. Later.
Great stuff, Chris.
We're going to get Tom's turkey. Chris had a hard stop. He extended 10 more minutes. And let's get Tom's turkey.
Okay. So
yours is a good one.
Well, I have one. I've got a surprise honorable mention here that I'm going to ask Haley to put up. This is a local agent in our marketplace. And this is the kind of content that he's posting. So this reel says free anal of the open house. He's on a team with his dad.
There's a lot of people doing this, by the way. A lot of people doing this trend.
What I want to stress about this, and he's not the only one. And people look you up on the internet. Imagine you're going to a listing appointment, Lisa, and they search you and they say, why are you talking about free anal? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand this. This is a professional business. And frankly, it pisses me off when I see people do this because they think it's a big joke. And it's exactly what Chris is talking about, chasing likes and all that stuff. So that was my honorable mention. And he's not the only one, for sure. Now, there is someone.
I just saw one yesterday. Hey, Tom, I just saw one yesterday. And it was the same thing because this has become a trend. Agents I hate the trend too. I think it's obviously dumb. But this trend that you just showed where the agent's covering up the YSIS part of analysis, with their body. So an agent walks up to this other agent. She goes, oh my God, I've seen this trend. I know what's going to happen. You're going to move and it's going to say analysis. And he's like, no. And then he moves and it doesn't say analysis. It literally just says free anal. I don't know if we could say anal on the internet. It sounds like
was he wearing chaps? Like, could you imagine if he was wearing chaps?
Assless chaps.
And he goes, I'll do anything to sell a house. And then he starts walking like with his butt cheeks clenched towards the front door. He looks back and it's the Curb Your Enthusiasm music playing like that. And this thing went major viral. Landed in my feed. But I mean, this person is a real estate professional, put this on for thousands upon thousands to see on the internet, him walking. I mean, so it's like, what does that comedic approach? Matt Leonetti, he's talked about this a little bit. Obviously, his brand was built up in the beginning, a lot to do with collabing with Eric. I mean, he's also kind of good at comedy, and it wasn't offensive to his customers. But like everybody now tries to be the next Matt Leonetti. Matt's pivoted. He's talked about this. He's pivoted big time. And if you watch his listing videos, he's not even in them. And they're the best listing videos you can find in the country. They're exceptional. They're like director level, heartfelt. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, his mind works like what you'd pay, an ad agency to go do it's unbelievable stuff. And so now people see, because a Matt Leonetti built a following with this comedic approach, like, you're just not that funny, man. But it did go viral. I don't know if that was the point. So anyway.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine being that guy's dad, and he's putting that out there about the dad's real estate brand. I mean, that's the stuff that just makes me insane. But here's the biggest turkey I found, and this is also another local one. We got a lot of winners in Philadelphia.
Tom winning some fans in the local Philadelphia real estate community.
Everyone hates me here already, and they lie about all.
Not true.
Something happens to Lisa. So
Tom, I met one of your big competitors in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
and she said she loves you. She hasn't met you, but she loves you.
Okay, you have to tell me. I'm actually happy to hear that, because people, they don't like winners, Byron. Just like Nick Saban says, mediocre people hate high achievers.
She goes, listen,
she's a winner.
Sometimes, my agents will go to Tom's team, or sometimes, I'll get an agent from Tom's team. And she goes, I love him. I don't know him, but I love him.
That's okay. I got no problem with that. And
a lot of respect.
That's amazing. Well, you got to respect winners. I think that's just how you do it in this business. People are going to win no matter what. That's not the ones you're going to stop. Here's the biggest turkey. This is another local one. Philadelphia realtor. His name's John Bilyeu. He, on June 26th of last year after midnight, real estate agent and apparently a resident in the city, he attempted to enter Terminal C at Philadelphia International Airport the wrong way. He put $50 on the security guard's desk, said, hey, will this get me back into the airport to retrieve his phone? But wait, there's more. And then he argued with the security guard, ran into the terminal, ended up getting through the gate, got on a plane on American Airlines and to get his phone, and the plane didn't take off. And he evaded airport security. He could have gotten a year in jail, but he pled guilty, and he got a fine of $59,143 to retrieve his phone. And I mean, this guy, this is on Philadelphia Magazine's website. Can you imagine stopping a plane from taking off to get your phone? I just buy a new phone. You can get a new phone for $500. It would have been a great cost savings.
Agents
activated that day.
Well, I'm not going to defend what this guy did. He's obviously a complete
both of these are horrible.
Turkey.
I mean,
but your whole business life kind of is like wrapped into your phone, right? And so I've always said, have a backup phone. Like if I'm on a plane and I'm
using your laptop,
if I'm on a plane and I'm using my phone, my other phone is in my bag. So if I did leave a phone on the seat and I walked out, I got another phone that's got everything loaded up that this phone does in my bag. I've never met a carpenter with one hammer. Like if he loses his hammer, he's got another hammer. Okay. Think about it. You could be using your phone and recording yourself with the other phone. Don't go out and buy a phone right now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, the next time you upgrade, keep the other one instead of trading it in. Have a backup phone so you're not out of business. This is where you run the majority of your business. To not have a backup option, you're not a soccer mom keeping up on the schedule, and you only need one phone. You're not a normal, just phone user. It's your business. Have a second device. But this guy's a complete,
happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Complete turkey. All right.
Great show.
NAR. Be the lion of the year next year. Take over the jungle.
What's next month is like recapping our predictions. That'll be a good one.
Oh, I can't wait.
I was actually looking at those. I think we're going to have some winners on the show and some losers. Should be fun.
Yeah. I know one case I'm losing.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I know you can't. You always are rooting for my demise.
I know. It's easy.
That's what friends are for, Byron.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving,
All right.
everybody.
Bye, boys.
Appreciate you guys. You've got a CRM for leads. Great. Don't want that to go away. But what about your clients? Most agents drop the ball after the deal. That's why they're called past clients. There's real money is in the referrals, the repeat business, staying top of mind for a year, making past clients actual clients. If your follow-up is just random check-in or a happy home anniversary, you're invisible. That's why my team uses Mosaic, and that's why the Mosaic team just made it available to all BAMX members at no additional monthly cost. Mosaic is a high-touch client experience platform. It picks up where your CRM leaves off, personalized property search, offer comparisons, real-time transaction timelines, automated homeowner reminders, equity updates long after the closing. This means your clients feel supported with you without duct taping 5 different systems together. And here's what makes this deal insane. Mosaic is normally $150 to $250 a month, but BAMX members, you get full access included in your $97 a month membership. If you're doing the math, that's like us paying you $150 every month just to stay ahead of your clients, just to keep your clients. Spots are limited by market for Mosaic. Some are already full. So if you're in a competitive area, go claim your seat now. Go to school.com/BAMX or hit the link.